Now it's time to work on some really, really cool guitar techniques. These are techniques that are more style oriented, or like they relate to other styles of music. And they are, some of them quite a lot are really based on your left hand strength. So these are really, really, really fun. I love these ones. These are like in all my playing, you will hear these all the time. So these are the really, really fun techniques that I would recommend that, like I said, with any song that we're working on, or any technique that we're trying to build it through a song, and then you're going to start picking these up so much easier. I would not recommend doing any of these as guitar exercises on their own, but I'm just going to run through all these different ones, and then it's kind of going to like fill out the whole like the last chapter of every guitar technique that you might need to know whenever you're trying to play music. So if you're new here, my name is Luan. I'm a professional musician. I graduated from Berklee with a scholarship, and this is a lesson from our free guitar course in our online music school, which you can join for free right now if you want to. And it's all about delivering practical music education for y'all. So this is the stuff that I wish someone showed me off the bat, so that when I was jumping into songs that I wanted to play, I wasn't like, what the hell is going on? What's the best way to approach this thing? So this is what I'm going to do. We're going to start working through a couple of these little techniques, and then you're going to have a look and be like, that's what they're doing. And so hopefully that will help you. Now, straight off the bat, we're going to be doing a couple of left-hand techniques. And what this means is that the left hand kind of drives the whole progress or the sound of whatever's happening here. These are typically called like legato techniques, or like non-picking techniques if you want to be not fancy. So the first one is called a hammer-on. So typically what's happening is I'm going to play a note. So I'm playing right here on the low E string on the 5th fret, and I'm going to hammer on with my 3rd finger, and I'll do that onto the 7th fret. So you probably heard this all the time. So that's the sound of a hammer-on. And then that's going to lead to the next one, which is called a pull-off. I'm just going to play the note, say on the 7th fret on the D string, and then I'm going to pull my finger off, and then it's going to go to the 5th fret. Now, these two techniques work hand in hand. So you got hammering on, and then you got pulling off. Now, the two are going to create the function of legato, which is like the smoothness of your playing. So like... Oh, I keep adding slides. My bad. That's later. Sorry. It's hard to like decompartmentalize each one. But basically, you can see how I've got the hammer-ons and then pull off. Now, this is really, really, really awesome when it comes to playing anything. And you're going to hear this in like every style of music you ever play. So this is something that if you are going to get stuck on it, the way you want to think about hammer-ons is you want to think that you're like, it's not about the finger coming down onto the fretboard. It's about as the finger is coming down, you're squeezing with your thumb. And that's going to give you the most strength at the beginning, because at the beginning, you're going to be weak. You know, it's like going to the gym. You're going to be lifting up little weights. And that's what this is, really. This is the strength stuff that happens on the guitar. And you'll be like, oh man, why is it so hard to do? There's two factors that you can do to make this a lot easier. You can get lighter gauge strings, so easier, very not as heavy strings to push down on. And you want to make sure that the action of your guitar is set very, very low, so that the distance between the strings and the fretboard is very, very small. And that's going to make this super, super easy. Obviously, on an acoustic guitar, it's quite challenging. It's not challenging, but it takes a bit of effort. But on an electric guitar, it's obviously a lot easier because the strings are easier to handle. So all you're going to do is, for the hammer-ons, you want to be hitting the note, and then you're going to be smacking down on the next note. And when you're doing it, you want to think about squeezing in with your thumb behind the neck, so that you've got like this pinch in your hand. That's what's going to get it. Especially at the beginning, and then eventually you can kind of like, you don't even need your thumb once you get strong enough. Because that function, the muscles will build up over time. Now, the next one that we're going to do is the pull-off. Now, the trick to the pull-off is not to just go hit up like that. You can hear how there's a little bit of a, you can hear it, especially on an electric guitar. But the best way to start working on it is you're going to hit the note and then pull towards your palm. So like as you're lifting off, you're pulling towards your palm. Now, there's a big caveat when it comes to hammering ons, doing hammer-ons and pull-offs. You need to make sure whatever finger is going to be anchoring, that you don't panic and accidentally pull the whole thing out of key. So sometimes you'll see people do pull-offs, they'll actually pull the whole string down. So you notice how it's going out of tune slightly? That's a very, very rookie error to do. So be aware of that whenever you're doing pull-offs. You might make that mistake. So it doesn't matter what you do, what finger sequence you do. Some people have like these gigantic exercise programs you can do. Definitely Google them if that's something that you're into. I highly don't recommend you do that. It's really, really, it was a big waste of my time when I was playing. I see way more progress if you just find songs that might have hammer-ons or pull-offs. You'll get way, way, way better at it. Than someone who's just going through exercise shapes, because the exercise shapes will inform how you tackle songs. Because if you have certain shapes, you might actually have shapes that might make it harder to play a song because you're going to build bad habits. Or like you've got to break the sequence that you've just learnt, which is so annoying. Anyway, I love hammer-ons and pull-offs. They're fantastic. Now, we're going to segue and slide into slides. So slides are basically, you're going to play a note and then you're going to slide up to the next note. So if my target note's on the 7th fret on the G string, I'm just going to start on the 5th fret. Boom. Now, there's two kinds of slides that you're going to hear in a song. You're going to either hear an embellishing slide, or you're going to hear an actual slide. An embellishing slide is a fake slide. It is a slide to make it feel like you're sliding to the note, but it's actually you're playing that just one note. What that sounds like is, sounds like I'm sliding, which I am doing a slide, but I'm not doing like a, you hear that ba. There are two notes. There is a sequence. They have their own rhythmic place in the music. An embellishing slide is going to just have its own spot on that one note. There's no separation. So it's just like ba, ba, ba. So it's ba, 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 ba. You hear it all the time. And then the other one would be a ba, da. So you can hear, that's the difference between the two. So the embellishing slide is a really, really great thing. Like say you're doing a solo, like, you know, it's really, really cool. And you hear it all the time. You might hear it and you'll be like, why does it, because the reason why I'm telling you this is sometimes you might be learning a guitar solo or you're learning a riff and it's actually an embellished slide, and then people will separate the two. They'll be like, I need to go, and then they ruin the whole groove of whatever the phrase is, and then that's like, damn it. Every time they're like, why can't I get it right? Why can't I get it right? And that's what you'll be doing wrong, is you're going to be treating that slide like two separate notes when it's actually one note, just a really cool sounding note, as like an effect. So that's the big thing that I want you to be aware of. But slides are very simple. You can do it with whatever finger you like. Typically, I always slide with my third finger or my first finger. I don't know. I just don't, unless the song requires me ergonomically to use my second and like my middle finger and my pinky, I just don't do it. So that's why I'm saying, like, you don't want to sit there doing slide exercises. Just do what you need, and then you're going to build up your technique over time and play lots of music at the same time. So that is slides. Now the next one is bending. So bending is where you're going to play a note and you're going to bend up to another note. And the best way that I know how to get better at bends is, one, learn some BB King. No, that's a joke. But if you want to, you definitely will get really good at bends if you learn BB King. He is a beast. He will also really hurt your hand because by the time you finish doing bends with index fingers and like, oh my God, it is like a workout trying to play like The Thriller's Gone and things like that. Anyway, the best trick to the bends is you want to start from your from the destination and then go back and then bend up. So say for instance, I want to bend to this note here, which is the 9th fret on the G string. Then that means I'm going to go down to my 7th fret and try and match the pitch. So if you hear a song that has a bend and you're going to be practicing bends, obviously while you're practicing that song and there's like, oh, there's that bend and he bends up to this thing. And like, if you can't get it right and you're like, why is it not getting right? Then find where the note actually is. And then you're going to bend up to it. And then you're going to get better at it. Now, when you are doing bends, you can do it however you want. Some people are absolute beasts in their hand and they just like will bend with one finger. Or like, you know, you can do it like that. I typically, sometimes I will support my hand by like, you can see here where I do a bend with my 3rd finger. I kind of have like my other fingers pushing up with it to give it a bit more, less work for my ring finger. So it's up to you how you approach it, but the whole thing is you're going to squeeze in with your thumb and then you're going to push the note up. Some people on lower strings, they'll bend down. Some people like to do that. The only times where you can't bend up or bend down is obviously like, say I'm going to bend down here. I'm going to hit towards the end of the fretboard. And so that's kind of like, do you really want to do that? It might screw up your playing. So that's why usually on the high strings, you're bending up. Or on the lower strings, you're bending down. If you want to. Now, little sneaky thing with bending is you can do a really, 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 really subtle bend, almost to the point where you're not actually bending the notes. Bending the notes up and down a lot, and it's going to create what we call a vibrato. And so this is what a vibrato sounds like. So it's an extremely fast oscillation, which means you're just going up and down of the pitch. And so, but I'm not going too high. I'm not doing like that. I'm just doing it super subtly. Now if I do it fast, that's where we get vibratos. Now, upgrading it again, if you're going to get super into this, you can do bend vibrato. So say I'm bending up to this note. I'm now bending up to the note and then doing the vibrato. So that is a really, really cool one. Say I put distortion on it. You're going to hear a lot of loud noises now. Sounds pretty cool, right? Now, to get the vibrato, it's kind of up to you. Some people like to shake the guitar. Some people like to move their hand left and right. Some people move it up and down. Whatever gets the result, I truly don't care. There's no right way to do it. There's just whatever way your hand is more comfortable. By the way, everyone's hands are different. So some of these techniques are going to be easy for you. Some of them are going to be hard. Like say, for instance, like if you had a hand like Steve Vai or John Mayer, like doing bends with your 3rd finger are going to be quite easy. Whereas for me, like if it gets to like 3 frets, I kind of need to use my pinky. My hands aren't big enough. I'm not that much of a man. So that might help you out. Now we're going to move away from our left hand bad boys and we're going to start doing double stops. Now what a double stop is you are going to do a picking technique on 2 notes at the same time. And it sounds like this. So typically in like a minor pentatonic scale, so you can hear that. I like to hybrid pick a lot of double stops. So say I'll be doing like a lick. So there's like a double stop with a bend, which is a bit of like a pedal steel kind of little lick that they do. And then I'm adding a hammer on with a double stop. So this is why, I mean, just that little phrase that you just heard me do then, this is why I don't want you going and doing technique exercises. I never did a technique exercise that required me to practice doing a bend and then doing double stops and then building that. That phrase that I just did was not built through doing technique exercises. It was doing, learning music, and I learned a country song, and then there was a lick in it, like how does the guitar solo go? It's like, oh no, it goes. So talk about how to practice technique. I just listened to a Brent Mason solo. That's Chattahoochee, by the way, the guitar solo from Chattahoochee. So I'm doing a double stop with a bend, and then I'm practicing my double stops. So that's how I'm building these techniques. I'm not building these techniques by doing exercises. I'm learning songs, and I just, the me sitting there just going, like all of those techniques are building my hybrid technique, my double stop. All of that stuff is being built as I'm learning a really, really fun solo. So that means I could sit there for 3 hours and play the same solo over and over and over again. I would never get bored. I would have so much fun. I would just be over. And when I did learn this, I actually did sit there for like 3 hours straight. Maybe not straight. I would have like breaks of like 1 minute when I would get distracted by my phone or speak to my wife. And and she was also like, can you shut up with that freaking song? Play a different song. But I was so having fun. So that's what it's all about. The building these techniques comes from having fun and doing that kind of stuff. So that's all double stops are. 2 notes at the same time, picked or plucked, whatever you want to use. That's all it is. So simple. Typically, I do it on the higher strings. It sounds wicked. Sounds great. Now, the next technique is what we call tapping. So this is a little bit more advanced on the hammer-on front. So it's the same technique as hammering on, except we're going to be using our picking hand, and we're going to add that into the mix. Now, there's an amazing solo that I learned back in the day when I was a kid. It's called Eruption by Eddie Van Halen, and I love that song, and that's where I learned all my tapping stuff. Now, I typically don't do a lot of tapping with my left hand. We won't even get there because it's way more advanced and super niche where it's used. Things like there's a song called like "Building the Church" by Steve Vai, where he'll do a lick like this, where he'll set up his little groove and go. I can't believe I still remember that. I'm pretty sure I did it wrong. So if anyone's a Steve Vai fan, let me know if I did it right or wrong. But you can see how that's like, I'm really not going to go from like playing like that's just not, it's really like jarring. You would have to really figure out how to make it work. But as a gimmick, maybe you could do it, but it's not something I would recommend. But tapping itself is a really, really powerful tool to add to your arsenal, which is you're simply going to pick one of your fingers that you're going to do. Typically, I use my middle finger, and very rarely I will use my ring finger if I want to do like a double tap kind of thing. So basically, say I've got a note here. I tap on the next note. So let's say I'm in the A minor pentatonic. I'll do it right. It's a really, really cool gimmick, honestly. And like tapping is like one of these things that you do on the guitar that like, it's kind of like, it's cheap speed. So you can really, really trick people into thinking that you're quite good by doing tapping. So what you can do is now like, so that's all the technique is. Just you're tapping a note and then you're getting a whole new thing, a whole new world. Now, so like say for instance here. Now I can, if I wanted to, I can do like a bend. So like say I tap, I can now bend over here and that will change the tap sound too. So so anything I do over here will then raise the pitch over here, which is a really, really cool trick to do that you'll hear. Like, I mean, Keith Urban is like a beast at it. Steve Vai, amazing. Eddie Van Halen, amazing. They do some amazing tapping lines in their music. Keith Urban's really impressive because he kind of fits it into his country rock playing, which is like, that's a really hard way to bring tapping into it and make it sound really like not like rock, like heavier rock kind of thing. Anyway, so it's really, really pretty. The pairing it with hammer-ons and pull-offs though is where you're going to get like this really insane speed. So basically what I would do is I would hit the note. What would it be like? Where is it? I can't remember how this goes. I can't remember how this actually goes. Oh no. Anyway, whatever it is. I think that's it right there. So you're going to hear what I do is I'm going to go, I'm going to do my tap, pull off, hammer, pull off, tap. So you can see that you can kind of make it sound pretty wicked. And if you really crank the distortion, you can go hard. But obviously I'm not, I mean, that's not my style. I don't really play much of that stuff. I love like, I don't know, doing what I do. But it's something I learned when I was younger. And so it stuck. So sometimes when I'm jamming and I'm doing like a bit of a heavier solo, and then I add it into my arsenal of solos or whatever. So that is where the tapping comes in. Now, the next one, I think I did one just then, but is called a pinch harmonic. Now, so pinch harmonic is where you're going to play a note, and then as you pluck the note, you're going to pinch it with your finger. So I hit the note, and then my thumb lightly touches the string, and it gets this little, it gets this high-pitched noise. So this is me hitting it normally. So you see when I lightly touch the string, this is not really something you can do clean. Some people can do it if you put in a lot of work to get it right. But if you can do it, it just sounds really great with distortion. It's so cool. And it's like a really great way to like end solos or get like these really like epic hooks to people. Like it will hook people really, really well if you can get it like it. So yeah, it gets that wah, it gets that like squealing noise. It's so cool. So basically the trick is you're gonna like pluck and then lightly touch it with your thumb. And so you're gonna find when you first start trying to do this, you're gonna find that your thumb is actually gonna like mute the string. And so it's getting that delicate balance between you lightly touching it and letting that squeal happen and not killing the note. And so if you can get that delicate balance done, that's how you're gonna get that crazy sound. And like the best way to do it is obviously find a song that does it. Like Eruption, I believe, is he does it at the beginning. That's why I got quite good at it. It's like something like that. So you can see I kind of miss it quite a lot. So it's a really, really, really cool technique. Man, I try to make this video really short, but I feel like we're just getting into this and having heaps of fun. Now, the last technique is called harmonics, just harmonics on its own. Now, harmonics, maybe I will grab my acoustic guitar because it'll sound better. But harmonics, basically there is like a thing called a harmonic series. And so like it happens on the guitar. There's a few that you'll pop out quite easily. So it's like every 5. So it goes the 5th fret, 7th fret, and 12th fret will be like the cleanest sounding ones, which would be like. So you can hear how those harmonics came out quite well. So wherever the starting pitch is, you're kind of going to work from back to front. So say my starting pitch is open D string. If I go on the 12th fret, I get an octave harmonic. And if I go 7 frets, I think that's a 3rd. What is that? Oh, it is an octave. Okay, cool. So that's like a 5th, I believe. Yeah. So we got different octaves. So we got open, octave, higher octave, 5th. So that's a 5th above of whatever the note is. I actually never really sat down and tried to figure out the theory behind it, but that's what the theory is. Wow, we learned together today. That's fantastic. But essentially, I don't want you guys to go crazy about this, but this is a really, really fun technique. You will hear me do this all the time. So I don't really do 5 and 7 much. So I don't go 5 frets up and do a harmonic, and I don't go 7 frets up and do a harmonic. I will always usually do 12 because 12 is clean. And 12, you can slap that harmonic on and it will sound great. But the trick to the harmonic, just so you can practice it while you're at home, and just to get a feel for how it works, you're just going to lightly touch the string and then you let go. And you're going to get that harmonic. So as soon as you feel the vibration, just let go. You don't want to do like, that means you're pushing too hard. And then this is not really the way you want to do it. You can kind of do it that way if you want to start learning, but give it a shot. 12 frets up. So where I will do this is, say I'm playing like a wicked ass lick. I will slap 12 frets up. So you see I go from 5th fret, so I go up 12 frets from there. And if I slap over the top of the metal, I will get it. So remember, just a quick aside, I didn't say it before, but when you're doing it, make sure you're at the end of the fret. So I'm on the 12th fret right here. I don't go at the beginning of the 12th fret. I go at the end of the 12th fret, right over where the fret actually is, the metal. And that's where you're going to get the cleanest harmonic. So that is your goal if you're trying to do it. So I like to slap them. Or if you wanted to, you can like put your finger here. This is a really cool technique that can't do it with my pick, but Tommy Emmanuel will do this, where he will do like that. That was that guy that I was telling you guys about before, the finger picking guitarist in a finger picking video I was talking about. But he'll go 12 frets up and he'll go. But he like is really, really good at it. I'm not very good at it. It's extremely like niche. I wouldn't recommend you learning it, but that's what I do. So if you're wondering what are all the things that Luan does in his guitar solos and everything, this is what happens on the guitar. So these are all techniques. Some of them are advanced, some of them are beginner friendly, but these are all things that you might encounter when you're learning your songs. So don't be like, oh man, I have to learn all these right away. It's not. These techniques that I have they've been built over 20 years. So if you're trying to be like, oh, Luan says I need to do all these things, no, you absolutely do not need to know how to do these things. But these are all the things that through playing like rock music, blues music, pop music, country music, things like that, I have built all of these different techniques, and that's what forms my playing. And I think that's what makes me sound unique in certain scenarios where some people listen to my guitar playing and they're like, oh man, it almost sounds like you're funk guitarist, but then you also sound a bit rocky. And they're just like, yeah, well, cool. Whatever you guys think I sound like is what I sound like. And so that is the really, really fun power of learning lots of different kinds of music. And you're going to pick up these techniques through playing lots of different kinds of music. And I wouldn't stress that you actually do exercises over them. So hopefully this gave you some value, and hopefully this is going to help you guys crush it. Yeah, and you're getting closer and closer to being a better guitarist. So catch you guys in the next video, and let's see you guys absolutely kill it.